Hear me. Hello, everybody hear me. Hey, everybody. Everybody here?
Hello, Phil.
Hi,
Hello.
guys. Hello, everybody. Let's start as usual. Number one, I hope you're all coming on here at exactly 9 o'clock. Well, 9 o'clock my time, so 12 o'clock your time, and like really listening to this and getting into the meditation, because of course, this is what we tend to forget about. It goes to the wayside. We're not working on our sea-level goal every single day, and that's so important. 365 days a year, even Christmas. Anyway, I digress. Carrie, you want to go ahead? And Carrie's going to do something special today. She's going to read the principles. So off you go.
All right. Hey, everyone. I'll share my screen. If you have them up yourself, that's great. All right. Mastermind principles. Begin every mastermind meeting by reading these mastermind principles. I release myself to the mastermind because I am strong when I have others to help me. I believe the combined intelligence of the mastermind creates a wisdom far beyond my own. I understand that I will more easily create positive results in my life when I am open to looking at myself, my problems, and opportunities from another's point of view. I decide to release my desire totally and trust to the mastermind, and I am open to accepting new possibilities. I forgive myself for mistakes I have made. I also forgive others who have hurt me in the past so I can move into the future with a clean slate. I ask the mastermind to hear what I really want, my goals, my dreams, and my desires, and I hear my mastermind partners supporting me in my fulfillment. I accept. I know, relax, and accept, believing that the working power of the mastermind will respond to my every need. I am grateful knowing this is so. Dedication and covenant. I now have a covenant in which it is agreed that the mastermind shall supply me with an abundance of all things necessary to live a success-filled and happy life. I dedicate myself to be of maximum service to the world and my fellow human beings, to live in a manner that will set the highest example for others to follow, and to remain an open channel of God's will. I go forth with the spirit of enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy. Whee!
It's great. It's so good. I mean, everybody knows this. Len, you're still studying this every day, I take it? And like being really grateful and like understanding what you're
Absolutely. I mean, these are the principles that get my day going and keep me on track. So easy to do. Takes minutes to look at it, but boy, it's a great way to keep your day in order.
And by the way, I just wanted to say something from a personal standpoint. Yes, I love that, but that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm really talking about is the fact that I have not slept in 24 hours, in case you can't tell. So if I ramble or do something, it's actually really a good way to let spirit just come in. I've done this before. So spirit just comes in and talks and I barely remember it. But if I start to ramble, I told Carrie, shoot me, do something, whatever it is. Let's start with a couple of wins, and then I want to introduce everybody to Kevin Lee, who's our newest member. Actually, let's do that first. Kevin, why don't you unmute yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself? Welcome to the club, Elite 100. Here you are.
Hi guys. Yeah. So just joined yesterday, and Brian was the one who brought me in. So I'm an entrepreneur. I do real estate. I buy real estate, single family properties. I do primarily just residential properties. I have a lot of rentals. We do a lot of short-term rentals here in Sacramento. But I've also invested in a multifamily. I also raise money like syndication for multifamily in Texas. So we have about 2,500 doors over there in Texas and throughout the whole United States. So that's a little bit about myself. I came from a tech background. I was in the Bay Area for good 7 years before I moved to Sacramento, which is about 2 hours away from the Bay Area. Yeah, that's about me. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, welcome to our Elite 100. You'll find it's a very close-knit just wonderful group. I mean, everybody supports everybody. There's nothing you can't talk about in this group. Obviously, it is only for this group, so it never goes out in public. So anything that you have, you've come to a really good place at a really good time, because we're about to do our Elite 100 Nashville, Tennessee retreat coming up next month, July 13th through 17th. Has everybody made their reservations at this point? If not, you guys just need to hop on the website that Brian will send you, and off you go to the races. It's a wonderful thing. Okay, wins. Let's talk about wins. One of the reasons I've been up for 24 hours, I'm going to start with my win, and then hopefully there'll be 2 or 3 others. But my win is that, so as you guys know, I went into business with Amazon last Christmas, or actually it was about a year ago now, because we're already behind the Christmas 8 ball. We're already behind the 8 ball for Christmas 2022 already, which sounds crazy, I know, but it's nuts. Anyway, the head of Amazon called me up, not Bezos, but the guy who's the head of film and television, and said, I want you to know that we really appreciate the movie we did was the #1 Christmas film for Amazon last year. I want you to personally produce my movies. And I said, what are you talking about? And he said, I have some movies that are mine that I want to have produced for Amazon Prime, and I want you to be the producer that actually does it. And I said, well, first I thought, okay, have I died and gone to heaven? Do I, like, you know, whose ass do I kiss? But basically it was a real thing. And so I have been up. I've been in, Jared knows, a couple of people know that I've been in Canada dealing with some other issues, but I was writing this guy's script over the last 7 days as well. The whole thing, it actually started right after this group ended on last Tuesday. And I've always said, I want to be, you know, running my own company and being in charge, entertaining the globe. And I'm doing it. But now I'm doing it with Amazon's money behind me. So couldn't be a better situation. And I'm okay with being up for 24 hours, even though you can probably tell with my speech, it's a little bit all over the place. But maybe not. So anyway, that's my win. And that is a great fucking win. Excuse my French, but I'm saying it anyway. Who else has a great win that they did? And every win is a great win. It could be like, you know, getting your dog that you've wanted forever and ever. I'm going by my 13-year-old daughter right now, who wanted this dog forever and ever. And we finally let her have it. So, because she did what we teach, right? She wanted it, she manifested it, and it's there. And I will tell you guys that it pisses and craps all over my bedroom because it's trying to be the alpha dog and I have to teach it. But that's another story. Not a win. Who's got a win? Who's raising their hand? Oh, Matt.
No, I got to win. Good morning. Good morning.
I see right there. Hi, Matt.
Yeah. And congratulations and welcome, Kevin.
Thank you.
And,
Such a big
I'm fired up from Carrie reading that last line. So I'm going to share my win with enthusiasm, excitement, and expectancy. You know, I got 2 good wins. They're all good wins, but I have 2 wins that I'm going to share. The first one is, and this is my expectancy. We have a 3rd interview with an admin today that the rest of the team really likes. We lost our admin about 2.5 months ago, just been putting the thoughts out there, and every candidate we've interviewed was good, and the next one was good, and we're really excited about this one. So by the end of the day, I expect to have a new admin for the team, which is exciting.
Right.
The other thing is that, you know, a couple of weeks ago, we had talked about that circle of balance. Jan and I have both been working out consistently. It's been about a little over, I'd say, 11 days, 12 days, but we're into that habit right now. So we're moving along, and we are appreciative of the group support and having us start slow and steady.
That's so awesome. And just see it that you already have the perfect admin person. She's already there, or he's already there. You just have to basically close it up today. Hopefully that's what it sounds like. Anybody else? Nobody else's hands are up there. Okay, I'll just pick on somebody, because again, the idea is to get into the vibration of winning, right? Because every day you're going to experience wins, right? It can be anything. It can be getting the best juice of your life. I mean, right? It's whatever it is. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go with you, Josiah, because I see you laughing. So you know what? You can participate today and tell me your win.
I was laying in bed last night and I was just like,
That's a win.
going to sleep. Yeah, that is a win. Laying in bed
Be
is a win.
worse.
Seriously, having a bed in general is a
I
win.
did not have a bed last night or for the last 24 hours, but hey, you know.
I was homeless in my teen years. I slept on the cement, so bed is a
You
win.
were hopeless for 19 years?
No, in my teen years.
Oh,
Not for
in your teen years.
That would be rough.
I mean, you're only like, you know, what?
He's only 20.
What?
I'm just kidding, Josiah.
Poor guy. Okay.
But I was like, you know what? I'm going to trade. So I just traded for like 30 minutes and made 6%. So
That's a great win, right?
Yeah.
Actually, on a side note, I was talking to Luke. Luke's not here, right, today. Okay, but basically because I have lost my ass in crypto. Dan, I want to call you to find out, Dan Hoover, because I know that you're doing that too. I am thinking, do I buy like double down and buy more or triple down or, you know, not, but hey, Josiah just reminded me of that. So we can talk about that if anybody else wants to talk about it. Is there anybody else who's got a win that they want to share? Otherwise, let's go to the content, because today Brian is at a mastermind, another mastermind, which remember he told us that he was going to go once every quarter. He's going to miss just one. And so we're going to go into content. So Carrie, where are you, Carrie? Why can't I see you here? There you are. You keep moving around in the kind of Brady Bunch square. Oh my God, you guys, it's like, you know, not sleeping. I realize who I am. Jared, I'm Johnny Depp. It's like I'm talking like him. My God, it's like I get it.
I think that's a win.
No
That's
sleep.
still with
He
no
had too many drugs. I had
Right?
yeah. So anyway, okay. Carrie,
Ivan is unmuted. Do you have a win?
does
Ivan?
Ivan have a win? Great, Ivan. Hi, Ivan. Hi. Where's
Hey, Phil!
Ivan, Bella. Where's Bella?
Bella is prepared because we need to go to a place, but we
You
have
want to
few
play?
wins.
Okay.
We have few wins on the week. First of all, we onboarded after a year of negotiations. We onboarded the health philanthropy investing company that we will be launching in 1 or 2 weeks more to the public. Is a company that has a unique technology for preventing the top 10 diseases to occur and capturing them in a very, very, very early stage, like at less than 1% of existence. So it can be really handled. So that's a win. And then Bella, Phil, this is for you. Bella finished completely the first book of the series.
Great.
In English, and the editor delivered to her the final copy for the fiction book series. And then I also, this last week in Puerto Rico is not easy because there is only 2 in the US and 1 is in Puerto Rico and 1 is in Colorado, but I created a club, which is a specific club for classic and exotic cars, and I finally got one that I was wanting to acquire for 2 years, but I was not finding it in Puerto Rico, and so we brought it from Ohio and so on. So it's a very good, because there is a lot of people moving to Puerto Rico, Phil, because of the tax incentives, but the problem is that they come to Puerto Rico and then they have the majority of the wives saying, oh no, I want to get back to the US, get me back to the US, this is only money, you move here because of only money, I am not enjoying this thing, whatever. So I created groups for getting the families to enjoy Puerto Rico. So I created a jet ski club that I am taking tomorrow to different islands. So they come with their wives and we go in jet ski, so they have community. And I created now this exotic cars club, so they can go with the ladies on the weekend and we can have a community and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of the short point for the wins.
That's a great one.
Ivan, what's the car that you got?
I created a GT club for Porsche. So it's a GT3 RS with 1,000 miles in it. And it's just, and you know, something is very good for the manifestation of things. Let me see if I have a short video here, because this was literally, let me see if I can show you something here, which is very fast, that actually Brian asked me to show you guys. Let me see if I have it here.
Ivan, talk about creation though. You're like, no, nobody leave this island. I'm gonna make everybody stay and create all these activities.
That's fantastic.
I
Man.
love it. Yeah, I love it. It's
Right,
brilliant.
because it's like, it's very unique in that place. And really, we came to Puerto Rico also because of the tax incentives, but there is no tax incentive. We love this island so much. The culture, the people, the scenery is just beautiful. And we will stay anyhow here. So I just want the other people that are moving here to fall in love with the island because of the island itself and the community, not because of the money savings, you see? So let me see, I have something I want to share with you here. Talking about manifestation. See this video from a Porsche that was born, like I saw it when I was like 10 years old, but this was me when I was a kid, okay? So listen, see this.
Okay, class, let's quickly review Europe. Can anyone tell me what country this island is? Noah?
Ireland.
Very good. And just under that, we have a continent. Who knows what continent? William, can you tell us what's so interesting out the window? Okay, pay attention this time, okay?
Can I help you?
Yeah, do you have the new 911?
Yeah, it's right over here. You want to get in?
Really?
Sure.
Do you have a business card?
Sure.
Thanks. I'll see you in about 20 years.
It's a funny thing about a Porsche. There's the moment you know you want one. There's the moment you first own one. And for the truly afflicted, there's the decade or two that passes in between. From its first days on the road over 40 years ago, the 911 has ignited the kind of passion in drivers that only a Porsche can. And now, once again, it is poised to redefine what's possible. Introducing the new 911 Carrera. It is, quite simply, the purest expression of who we are.
So basically, what I want to share with that is the manifestation moment from the kid and the intention that the certainty that he says, see you in 20 years. And then how Porsche has discovered on their marketing that there is a 20 years, a decade or two in between the desire and the accomplishment. So the good thing about this kid is that he didn't let anybody else, right, suppress his dream, because that's another important thing. Like, he will continue having his dream and keep it alive until he accomplishes that dream. So that's basically the thing that I realized. And like a year ago, I say, hey, I had this dream. Why I'm not doing it, you know? And now I start looking and looking, but I don't find the available one, which is the top of the line, whatever. But I always like to do things to involve other people enjoyment, and not just for me to own a car. It doesn't motivate me at all. So I created this club and I invited other friends. So now we are like, you know, 7 or 8 people with this car, and we can go together and inviting others and so on. So that's
great.
Ivan, that kid looked like you. You sure that wasn't you in the clip?
It did look like me.
I think they hired me 20 years ago, right?
What a great
all right, guys, this is fantastic. Carrie, let's go to, we're going to finish up chapter 26, right, today. We're going to read that. We're going to get into content, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick somebody to read. I'll start, but then I'm going to pick people to read. And if you see something that really resonates with you, or that is something we should talk about today, because we don't do this enough, in my opinion. It's like, I mean, we have so many great things which we're doing, especially the hot seats, but this is so important. I hope everybody agrees with me in that this is our study, right? This is what we are here to do. All we have to do, and I've said this from the first day that we started this, with some of you were there as well, is that all you have to do is just study this, and it will, when the what is the saying? I know you guys know it. When the pupil is ready, the master will appear. Okay, well, that's what these books are for me, is that like something will happen. Like today, I know that there'll be something that happened yesterday that has to deal with chapter 26 and destiny, and it'll solve the problem. That's why life is so great. That's why this teaching and this studying, that's why I always say that studying is joy. This is not work for me. This is joy. So let's go. Chapter 26, destiny. Your destiny is that which you must inevitably experience, right? So it's already there. So I look at that and I say, oh, my destiny is already done. And I know what I want, because I get into that great vibration of, you know, having my $2 billion that's helping millions of people, essentially. And so I basically know that it's already there. So I know I feel relaxed going into the day, just reading that first sentence for me. So again, it's whatever resonates with you. Really, it is an infinite number of individual destinies, each of which, when attained, is the starting place for a new destiny. Wow, that's a mouthful, isn't it? What does that mean to you? I see you agreeing.
Because there's infinite versions of us. So it's just a journey to self-discover more and more and more. Like, you know, like Ivan, like listening to you, like your imagination is roaring through the roof, right? Like every second you see is like, okay, what do I want? What would I like to see happen? And then it's so true, like building that community and ecosystems and connected with other people. So, I mean, it's so amazing. Matt and I picked this up again this morning to kind of mastermind on this book. And we started from chapter 1 again. And this book is so powerful. Right.
So powerful. And chapter 1 is like one of the best chapters, of course. I mean, it's like it's got everything that you need. It can basically, you can study that for the rest of your life and still not be done. In fact, I think Bob was studying that first chapter. He studied it for years and years and years. I know for a fact that he studied that chapter, the first chapter, for maybe it was the first and the second for 4 years straight, every day. It's great, right? And you just get into the vibration of what you want.
Right. And you think about the compound effect that's just as far as human evolution is concerned, and how much basis we come with as far as knowledge that's already out there. And then you couple that with imagination, you couple that with all the experiences. And that paragraph is just, it's so powerful, because when you reach a new field or you reach a new experience, it opens up another door for that next level of experience and next opening, right? So just to stay in curiosity all the time about everything, you know, yourself, other people that you interact with, experiences. Like I love the word curiosity, just because staying open to curiosity, learning to be present, the universe is constantly, you're speaking and you're in tune with the flow, and like You're constantly co-creating and attracting. It's such a beautiful life.
That's so good. It's so interesting. I love having you guys in this group, and I especially love having you in this group because you just opened something for me, which I had not seen, which is that you're right. There's infinite possibilities of us. We can do anything that we want. And so I'm thinking, why am I like, because I'm human too, right? So I got into this thing where I got into an argument with somebody in one of the companies that we are involved in. And I'm thinking, why am I doing that? Why aren't I like seeing it from where I wanted to end up? Basically, I want there to be peace and harmony in this company, and I want this to happen this way. And that's absolutely a version which you just basically pointed out here, and you just helped me get through the day in terms of like, I'm going to go to all my guys and say, look, this is what we want to have happen. Make it happen.
And Phil, sometimes we get so caught up on the momentum and the journey that we're on, right? And you look at the end prize, and
absolutely,
it's so crazy because, I know that a lot of you guys listen to Abraham Hicks, and she talks about a scenario, but this is so true, right? Like, think about planning your dream vacation, and you're starting off from home, and you have this dream vacation planned out for 2 weeks. So you're going on your vacation and you have this mindset of like these experiences that you want to experience, right? So if that's your starting place and your goal is the 2 weeks vacation and you're coming back, right? So after your 2 weeks of your dream vacation, where's your final destiny? Where are you going to end up back at? Back at home.
That's so good. Right.
So the way that we look at our goals, like if we just look at the end prize goal, then we would never leave. We're already here. And you miss out on the entire journey, right? So one of the things that I go back to, not that I'm always asking for contrast show up, by no means, right? Like I want to co-create the life that I want to experience. Yet when contrast shows up, or when I am in a lower vibrational field, or my emotions are quote unquote are hurt, all it is just more of a warning sign, or more of a awareness for me, where my brain kicks in and says, what is it that I do really want? Because without the contrast, you don't know.
Right.
Without the contrast, you can't grow. Right. So I look at every bit of it is just magical.
It's so good. And every one of you is like so special here. I really do. I love every single one of you guys. I really do. And I mean that. Len, are you getting the same sort of thing that we're talking about here? The infinite possibilities of everything that you want to do?
Absolutely. What I need to tell you, Phil, is that I'm getting to a point with learning the material that I can very safely and simply say that I liken my life to driving a vehicle, maybe a Porsche like Ivan's. But when I say liken it to driving a vehicle, I know where I want to go. I see where I want to go. I occasionally look in the rearview mirror to have a glimpse of where I was, but I need to stay in the sweet present. And the sweet present gives me all the opportunities that I was oblivious to when I wasn't
That's right.
knowledgeable in the material.
That's so good. That's really, really, really good. So good.
So
Thank you.
Okay. We shall continue, right? Okay. Gosh, where did I leave off? Since life is infinite, the concept of an ultimate destiny is inconceivable. Wow. I can't, it's like every sentence I want to stop. It's the concept of ultimate destiny is inconceivable. So does that mean that we will never know what our ultimate destiny is? Go ahead,
I
Ian.
really believe that. And also think about the programming that we've been programmed with, right? Think about this.
Programming is awesome.
opposite of
I mean,
that.
the programming for all human beings, but especially in the US, I've noticed this, and guys, I don't know if you guys have the same thing, but we're programmed to, I'm dealing with this right now with several people who are turning 65, and they are saying, well, this is retirement, and we spend the next 10 to 20 years in retirement, and then we're going to die, Phil. It's like, I mean, everyone's going to do that. And I keep saying, one is an editor who is she's in the prime of her life. I mean, she's about to win an Oscar, I think, for next year. And she's thinking about retirement at 65. It's like, what are you, crazy? And the other guy is a doctor, actually, who is saying, you know what? I mean, I wanted to do this my whole life. I became a doctor so that I could retire. And I go, that makes no sense whatsoever, right? You are a young guy. I said, at 65 today is like, as Oprah would have said, like, on her show in the 2000s, 65 is the new what, 25, 35, 45, whatever it is. My point is that this is incredible. It's like, honest to God, I never even thought about this. Since life is infinite, the concept of an ultimate destiny is inconceivable. When you say, since life is infinite, meaning that Bob is still with me. This is really good. I knew this today. Because Bob was with me all weekend long while I was writing and doing this stuff that I had to do. But it just goes to show you, it's just more and more. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but Bob, his family was in Toronto this weekend for kind of the final goodbye, if you will, which I thought was in February, but there is no final goodbye, I guess, ever. But what they are is that I think they've tied into this. I want to say to Linda Proctor, Bob's wife, and his kids, life is infinite. Bob always said that. Bob said, do not cry for me. I don't care what you do with my body. It's a body. My spirit is alive. It's always here. It's there. You want to talk to me? You talk to me. He talked to me a little bit differently than he talked to people in the seminar. Used a lot of colorful adjectives sometimes. But it's just, I can't stop talking about it. And I don't know if it's because I've had no sleep. I don't think so. I read this stuff every single morning. I'm actually doing the same book as you guys in my accountability group. So, and I'm back to the first chapter. Okay, who wants to keep reading?
We got Peggy and Josiah. You guys have your hands.
Oh, Peggy.
Feel free to unmute, guys, and jump in.
Hey, Phil, you're doing
Hi, Peggy.
great.
How are you?
Hey, I'm great. I'm doing
Good.
great. Thanks. Hey, the thing I think of, and I'm happy to read as well, but the thing I think of here that's so powerful for me is that have you read Thomas Troward's chapter on yourself? Did
Yes.
Bob ever have you read that?
Yes.
It's if y'all haven't read Thomas Troward's Yourself, it's
We should
amazing.
get that. Carrie, can you put that into the WhatsApp thing? So
You got it.
anybody who hasn't read it, I mean,
Yeah,
it's a must read.
it is, and I find myself striving to be a better version of myself. And when I read that Troward chapter, what he talks about is it's just this constant unfolding and becoming more of who you are, bringing more of who you are to the surface. Like when you drill a pipe into the ground, the water just rises naturally of its own accord. And that's what I hear him saying here, that there's just this continual unfolding, and we would get to a new place of our destiny, then we have more places that we can rise to. And it's just, this is just so amazing. And that awareness of this empowers us to do this, even more. Anyway, it just is beautiful.
That's so great. I love it. Go ahead, Josiah. Unmute yourself.
So I normally don't raise my hand, but I wanted Peggy to go first because I feel bad when people raise their hands and then I don't get to talk, because that was me when I was younger. So the thing that I love that he uses here is the word ultimate. So ultimate can mean a lot to different people depending on how you used it when you're being raised. But it really stands for two different things. One of them being like the best version. And in infinite, there isn't a best. It just goes, which gives you just limitless ability to create. And then the other thing is última, which in Spanish, some of us know, is last. And there is no last either. So therefore, you can't conceive something that doesn't exist. But in the same notion, the fact that something goes until there is no ending is also an inconceivable thing for most humans. So it was a good choice of words.
I like that. I really do. It's really special. This is a really, really special group today. I love this. Okay. Would you like to continue reading?
Yes. When we understand that consciousness is the only reality, we know that it is the only creator. It's so, every sentence, right? This means that your consciousness is the creator of your destiny. The fact is, you are creating your destiny every moment, whether you know it or not. Much that is good and even wonderful has come into your life without your having any inkling that you were the creator of it. It is so powerful.
It really is.
So powerful.
Yeah, wonderful.
To really understand that our sensory factors interpret into our brain thoughts that causes certain feelings, and that's what we've been all programmed as humans to do for generations upon generations. And when you can just reverse that, right, and create the feel of what you desire, right, your sensory factors will adapt to your belief system. And it's so amazing. Like, I'm sure all of you guys have felt this in your journey of just a personal development, and then realizing that you were operating under a belief system that you didn't even know you were operating under. And that was limiting your growth. Like, those aha moments are so profound for me.
That's
so
really
profound.
That's so good. I totally agree. It's so great. This is why I study, because God, I mean, leaving this group in 15 minutes, I'm at such a much higher vibration now. And it's like this small stuff that I was sweating this morning is gone. And I'm only thinking about this, what I want. It always comes down to that, doesn't it? They might say it a different way, but it always comes back down to what do you want? Always.
Len.
Go ahead, Len.
So I always work on building blocks, and this book, which is really getting a lot of use, goes up on top of my building blocks. My building block for this chapter right here, what we just spoke about, is very simple. As you think, so shall you be. I'm a simple guy. I need that as my foundation, and then I can expound on that. But when I get in a funk, I get back to something very quick. As you think, so shall you be. And that flips me right over into a more positive state.
That's awesome. And that's what you have to do all the time, right? Whenever something is thrown at you, you know, some obstacle or whatever it is, no matter how small it is, because I find, I don't know if you guys find this as well, it's the small stuff that really gets in the way. It starts to build up because one small thing leads to another thing, which leads to another thing. I mean, a perfect example is somebody gets a parking ticket. Next thing they know, their brakes are out. Next thing they know, you know, the kids broke the windows, whatever it is. And now they're thinking, oh my God, I've got to have money that I don't have this month. Well, if you just change that and just think about only what you want, it's simple, but it's not easy, like we've always said, right? I mean, there's so many people out there that are suffering, and I think so needlessly, you know. How can we help them? Well, the best way that I know how to help people is for you to make the example of yourself. Like you and Matt are doing that. I mean, I'm not meaning to pick on you guys, but for whatever reason, the way the computer is today, it's only me, Josiah, Carrie, Len, and you. And so that's why I'm picking on you. But it could be Peggy as well. I mean, it could be anybody, right? So it's just so great. I mean, it's so easy when you think about it, right? To get everything you want and to lift humanity up.
So think, and I don't know about any of you guys, but how many of us, and I'll just kind of talk preview, like, again, just to be consciously aware, how many times have we been put in a situation or a situation has been brought to us that may show up in contrast or cause a negative feeling? And how many times do we sometimes go to quote unquote, be compassionate and empathize and almost go down? And without being aware, we've now, dropped our level of vibration. And really, we made the entire situation to reoccur again, if not make it worse for that other individual, right? And then to know the awareness that we have and to know how powerful we are, to be able to continue that vibration, but also internally, like there's a Ho'oponopono prayer that I say all the time, but literally to raise that awareness and that raise the vibration, you'll see literally the person that's in front of you, the situation almost kind of resolve itself or elevate. So going back, the only thing that we can do is really focus on our own self, right? And we increase our vibrational state because we're all connected, and then we raise everyone that's around us, or not even around, all together.
You're right. that's really the secret to life, isn't it?
You know, Phil, I laugh when I look back at my childhood and different points through my life. And I think a lot of us had gone through this. You know, when this chapter talks about the fact that a lot of us don't realize that we're creating our reality, I go back to those little bits of pieces that, you know, as a kid where, you know, you can do whatever you put your mind to. You know, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. This concept of the self-fulfilling prophecy. I know in sports, you know, I was big as far as visualizing playing in big games, and you know, I was a defenseman. I wasn't into scoring goals, but I made big hits and I visualized those hits. But it was really interesting that all these little breadcrumbs that we're taught as kids, we don't really absorb that. And it's not until we're in a period in our lives, you know, at this exact time, or, you know, just a couple of years ago for Jan and myself, that we did start to increase our level of awareness. And that's what this concept of the ultimate, or the infinite versions of ourselves, because there's another version of me that's doing something completely different, that didn't take this path. And as we move in and out of, you know, the current existence, it's just really, really fascinating of how this all unfolds. And when we actually come to that point in our lives that we're, whether it's this life or a different life, that we're actually ready to start embracing this concept and really start to co-create.
So good. Matt, you want to take over?
Sure.
But however.
However, the understanding of the causes of your experience and the knowledge that you are the sole creator of the contents of your life, both good and bad, not only make you a much keener observer of all phenomena, but through the awareness of the power of your own consciousness, intensify your appreciation of the richness and grandeur of life. So with this one, Phil, you know, and I think we all have gone through this experience again with our circles or our network or our humanity. When you have someone that's in your life that's in a very low vibration and in that victim mentality, they find it very, very difficult to understand that they've actually created this. And it's a big pill for people to swallow. And a lot of people won't swallow it, again, until they're ready to increase their awareness level.
And Matt, it's even worse than that. Most people won't swallow it through their entire lives, will they? We all know people who have lived their lives and continue to live their lives that way. I have many neighbors who I grew up with who are basically that. And so the only way, like I said, to help them is to lead by example. You know, Bob said, and it's so true, you are the biggest problem in your life and you are the only solution in your life. So.
And that's why I think we all have and I think we all step forward into this as far as having such a great responsibility of living this. You know, it's one thing to study it. And I go back to the first couple sessions, Phil, you know, that really sticks in my mind where you know, when you talked about belief and the fact that you have to have an unwavering belief in every single cell in your body.
Right.
When I regurgitate that over and over again to people, because it is so true, and just get into the science as far as our physiological bodies. You know, we have a gazillion million, I don't even know how many cells we have, but if there's that one little charge of a negative cell, that's going to spread to other cells around it, and we're not going to have that belief.
You're so right. That's so good.
And then going back to the idea, you know, of, and I know Jan and I think most of us on the screen do this as well, is teaching people, you know, the simple question of what do you want?
Thanks to you, Phil.
It really, but it's really true, right? It always comes down to that. That was the first thing that Bob asked me back in 1998 or whenever it was, in 1999, is that what is it you want? And I knew that I wanted to win an Academy Award, but I didn't really know anything else. Like, what else do I want? What else is there in life? I mean, you know, you earn money and you buy stuff and you die 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 years later, hopefully. But it really just comes down to that. And then life is so much better. It's so expansive. I'm teaching a group now, and it's kids that are 15 to 17, maybe there's one 18-year-old in it. And they are so much easier to teach than adults because they know what they want. one wants to go to Europe, one wants to go, you know, here, one wants to do this. And they are just going to be the next generation. I mean, with our kids, your kids, Yoon's kids, ours kids, it's going to be a totally different world 10 years from now, 20 years from now. It's just going to be, there's going to be so many more. You know, I was reading a statistic that said only 3% of the entire human population is into this new thought. But it's growing by massive leaps and bounds. The thing is that I remember it being 3% when I started back with Bob in 1999 or 98. And it's still 3%, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I'm sure somebody on this call knows why.
Bill, I'm going to challenge that. I think it's been growing, number one. And number two, one of the things
that's what I say too. I was just reading a statistic that said 3% still.
One of the things that I think is going to be super fascinating is because a lot of the younger generation that are coming in and they have a lot more exposure to this type of content and this type of thinking. So this is where I truly believe, like all of us, spread this out to everyone that we connect with, that the new age of illiteracy is not the inability to be able to read or write. The new age of illiteracy are the people that can't learn, unlearn, and relearn because of the rapid amount of changes that's going to be taking place with all of these creation. I just think it's going to be amazing. And in my mind, I see all these younger generations, even older generations, and people that are giving themselves permission to dream and create and realize the powers within, that there's going to be a lot of cool things to experience. And to have to learn, relearn, and unlearn and relearn.
And don't you find, you guys, that having knowing this and studying this material, doesn't it make life so much joyful every single day? It really does. You know, you get, like I said, obstacles that are coming in here, but because of our study and because of our group and our you know, awareness, we're able to like live life just to the fullest and just in total joy. It's like, it's so joyful seeing somebody's eyes open for the first time. Like Kevin, we're seeing your eyes sort of open today, you know. Have you been studying this stuff for a while, Kevin, or are you new to the material?
Just very superficially, and I just can't wait to like really dive deep into the materials. Like you mentioned, you studied 20 years, and Bob had like
studied. Oh, and I'm still studying everything. Bob studied for 65 years.
So yeah, I think I'm just scratching the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot.
Point is that you can have whatever it is you want. You just have to determine what it is that you want.
Right. Yeah.
That's it. It's that simple, you know.
$1 million question though.
You want $1 million? It's like you can get $1 million. I was talking to a group. There actually was Maddie's group months ago, saying that I truly believe you can manifest $1 million sitting at your desk, just visualizing it, and I did. So, and I showed them exactly how it was done, and you can get whatever you want if that's important to you. At one point, I'm sure Brian's going to schedule you for the hot seat so that we can talk about your goals and what you want to accomplish and what your C goal and help you. Good. Well, you guys, we got 5 minutes left. Do you want to
Peggy? Peggy has her hand raised.
Oh, Peggy, God, I don't see the hands here. Okay, I see the
hands.
Help
you out, Phil.
The hands are so tiny. It's
No
like
problem.
hard to see.
Hey, guys.
Hey guys, you know, I just wanted to follow up on what you were saying and Yoon was saying, and I was listening to an Inner Circle call that Bob had done. It was probably 1.5 years ago, where he goes through and he takes the universal laws out of the science of getting rich, and then he takes entering into the spirit of it, which is another amazing chapter essay out of which I'm sending to Carrie, both yourself and entering into the spirit of it from Thomas Troward. And what he just, and I think I can put the link in the WhatsApp to this 1 hour video that Bob did. But to me, the light bulb went off that this is how we're really built to live. And that there's just been, you know, Bob always said there's only one problem in the world, and that's ignorance. And he didn't mean stupidity or superiority over anybody. He just meant not knowing. And that, you know, I've had the pleasure of going to elite schools and teaching there and all of these things, and it's been wonderful. But this is glaringly missing from education and literacy, as Yoon was saying, and that this is how we are built to live. And that the joy in life comes from this co-creation, comes from this connection to source and to ourselves, and really knowing how infinitely limitless we are. And so I'm on a mission to help bring this back, or not back, but into education, because it is the way we're meant to live. And I think all the things we see, anxiety, depression, boredom, addiction, things like that, all stem from not knowing who we are and not knowing really how we're meant to live. So I love this group too. Thank you, everyone. This is wonderful.
All right. That's so great, Peggy. I love that. It's interesting. I remember, I'm just going to leave with one more story. So with Bob, so after I met him in Vegas, he then invited me to Mary Morrissey's church up in Portland, Oregon at the time. Some of you might remember it, the Living Enrichment Center. And he was doing a goal setting seminar. And so he was talking about this in terms of how people just don't chase their goals because they've been taught, and it's paradigms, but they've also been taught to not chase their goals. And the example that he used was a religious example. And it kind of like sort of freaked me out when I saw Bob for that time, because he said it was back then. So he was saying, think about the Middle Ages. The church was in charge. The Vatican was in charge of everything. And he used the example of Mary's car. Now it's going to sound a little bit weird, and I'm sure there's a point here. I hope so. The point was that Mary was driving this blue Mercedes. I remember it like it was yesterday, a blue Mercedes. And so if somebody else, the priest saw Mary driving the blue Mercedes, and they said, why does Mary get to have a blue Mercedes? I don't think she should. I think what we should do is that we should take the blue Mercedes and we should basically make sure that everybody knows they need to be donating their money and their goods to us, the church. And he used it as an example as to why, like this was in the, I want to say it's going back over 20 years, but it was in the 1500s. And he was saying something happened in the 1500s, and it was just two priests who were jealous of Mary's car. Again, it's a ridiculous example, but you get the point. And they wanted the car. And so they basically made it so that not only did they get the car, but they got a piece of Mary's income. They got things that Mary had that they wanted. It was just a made up thing, he said. But the paradigm has been going on for so long that we are basically supporting the priests and supporting the churches, which is a huge real estate development. And his point was that we're a slave to our paradigms, even today from 500 years ago. That's not a good example, and I get it. Or especially for you, that's not a good example whatsoever. I was like thinking of you as I was telling the story, but you guys get the point. It's the moral of the story comes down to exactly what we always talked about, right? What is it you want? Whatever you want, you get.
And Phil,
Go ahead.
just to add to that, just harvest the good and forgive the rest, right? Harvest the good and forgive the rest on every aspect, because religion plays this time and religion plays the benefits that it has. So there's a lot of, how do I call, I just see a huge massive shift of all these different concepts that are coming out. And it almost reminds me of the times when religion came about and all these different, perspective and interpretations came about. And it's just a higher level of awareness. And this is where I say I have so much gratitude for all of them, right? To be able to harness the good and forgive the rest, to teach us the contrast and teach us. Yet at the end of the day, I still love the fact of people belonging into a community of some sort versus nothing at all, right? And again, just had to kind of throw that out there. I'll harvest the good and forgive the rest.
You're absolutely right. Well, on that note, this has been a great time. I've really enjoyed it. I really have. I'm just a little tired, but I got everything. Don't worry, Matt. I'm going to watch the replay as well to see if I was coherent or not. I take it I was, Carrie, since you didn't you didn't take me off. So that's good.
You did a great job.
Amazing.
Yes.
You did amazing, and it's so good to see you with no sleep. Yeah, I feel.
I've had no sleep whatsoever. There's Yoon, right now, you can ask me any question whatsoever, and it'd be a pleasure to tell you any answer. I am incapable of lying right now. So just ask me.
Well, I hope that's the case all the time, Phil. You
In
know?
that case, Phil, I got a couple of questions for you.
Go ahead. All right. Don't you owe me something now? Not so easy, is it? Huh?
I'm working on it, believe it or not.
I totally believe it. And it's like, if it takes you a year, it takes a year. You know, Stranger Things, just to say one thing again, Ara came up with that idea at the last retreat in January, and he is determined to get it going. And he's doing exactly what I told him to do, but it takes time. And so he's putting in the work and he's doing it. But what I was going to say is that, you know, Night Court took almost 10 years to get on the air, to get the pilot made. I have a pilot that's been at CBS now since 2011. So I'm going on 11 years. Oh, 11 years. That should be a good luck number. So there you go.
It's a great
the pilot
number.
has now gone from like a $7.5 million pilot to a $22 million pilot. For a $22 million pilot, it'll be about 41 minutes that nobody will ever see except for the network to decide if they even want to do the show. Yeah.
Oh, that's
That's
crazy.
where the numbers are going. The numbers are.
I love it. I love it. Phil, money's just energy anyway, so just keep it growing. I love you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Great day. Bye.